Now, I'm sometimes accused of talking utter nonsense, and today there will be more balderdash than ever, but maybe some verities too. Hey, I'm Joe, or JSB, and today I'm celebrating the 50th anniversary of Harry Chapin's fourth album, Verities and Balderdash. So, yep, it's a 50-year flashback. Flashback. And it's also a random foreplay, which basically means I chuck the album on shuffle and we listen to the first four songs that come up, with some fun and insightful chat along the way, of course. So this was the second of three albums produced for Harry by Paul Leaker, and in my opinion is the best of those three by a fair margin. It's also, of course, Harry's biggest selling studio album by a large margin, the only album of his to go gold in his lifetime. Heads and Tails did eventually get certified gold, but that was many years after his untimely death. And of course, the reason this was such a big album was it led off with Cats in the Cradle, his biggest hit by far. And will we hear that today? Who knows? It's random. Anything can come up. Well, not anything. Any of the 9 tracks on this album, 7 of which I love, and the other 2 of which, well, they represent the Balderdash side of things, really, but they're fun in their own way. So whatever comes up, it'll be a great, fun and interesting ride with the master of the story song, Harry himself. And before I natter at you any further, let's dive in and listen to our first random track from Harry for today, and that's going to be as well. You don't often get that on random, starting with the opening track, the first track, obviously. The big hit, Cat in the Cradle.
A child arrived just the other day. He came to the world in the usual way, but there were planes to catch and bills to pay. He learned to walk while I was away, and he was talking for I knew it. And as he grew, he'd say, I'm gonna be like you, Dad. You know I'm gonna be like you. And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon, little boy blue and the man on the moon. When you're coming home, Dad, I don't know when, but we'll get together then. You know we'll have a good time then. My son turned 10 just the other day. He said, thanks for the ball, Dad, come on, let's play. Can you teach me to throw? I said, not today, I got a lot to do. He said, that's okay, and he walked away, but his smile never dimmed. It said, I'm gonna be like him, yeah, you know I'm gonna be like him. And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon, the little boy blue and the man on the moon. When you're coming home, Dad, I don't know when, but we'll get together then. You know we'll have a good time then. Well, he came from college just the other day. So much like a man, I just had to say, son, I'm proud of you. Can you sit for a while? He shook his head and he said with a smile, what I'd really like, Dad, is to borrow the car keys. See you later, can I have them, please? And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon, little boy blue and the man on the moon. When you're coming home, son, I don't know when, but we'll get together then, Dad. You know we'll have a good time then. I've long since retired, my son's moved away. I called him up just the other day. I said, I'd like to see you if you don't mind. He said, I'd love to, Dad, if I can find the time. You see, my new job's a hassle and the kids are the flu, but it's sure nice talking to you, Dad. It's been sure nice talking to you. And as I hung up the phone, it occurred to me, he'd grown up just like me. My boy was just like me. And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon, little boy blue and the man on the moon. When you're coming home, son, I don't know when, but we'll get together then.
okay, the gods are randomness bestowing Cats in the Cradle on us right from the off. That was, for me, as probably a fair number of people, the first Harry song I ever heard, but I probably heard it in a different way than most because I remember it very distinctly. This is a long, long time ago, but it sticks in the brain. Classic Hits was the radio station, 97 FM. This may have been before it even moved to FM. Anyway, they used to have a little segment that they'd play of whatever happened to, and generally these were really old to me, like pre-Beatles type artists for the most part. Gene Pitney was kind of the only one I ever really cared about. He was the only one I knew. But one time it was Harry, and they just talked about him for a minute or two, and I thought this is a sounds like a great guy and a tragic story. And then they played the song, and I was tired myself. It was one of the most emotional things I'd heard at that point in life, which was not long. I was probably thinking 8 or 9, and yeah, I then didn't hear it again for years. As I may have recounted here or elsewhere in the past, I picked up a copy of Greatest Stories Live a few years later, um, and listened to that obsessively. And then I picked up this album. This was my first studio album from Harry, and I got my dad to thank for it, which is ironic given the nature and story of that song. But I'd been at a tennis clinic. This was, I believe, the summer before I started high school, and I don't know why he picked me up, and then for some reason we stopped off near a mall which had a little arcade. On one side was a really cheap and nasty secondhand bookshop that I sometimes wandered into, and on the other side was a sort of secondhand everything shop. And they had a basket of records out the front, which I often sifted through, and had never found anything of real interest in there. But on that particular day, this album was in there. So I went in and purchased it and discovered that they had, all along, they have a rack inside of a whole load of other records, which had much better stuff in it for the most part. And so I would go back to that shop time and time again in the next few years, getting stocking up my vinyl collection for $1 or $2 each time. It's all thanks to Dad and Harry and this song. So, yeah, this album's been with me for a long time. Let's carry on and listen to a couple more tracks from it. And the next one is going to be this. Yeah. She Sings Songs Without Words, the album closer of side 1 that obviously just kicked off with Cats in the Cradle. And if you've never heard the song before, it's a beaut.
I was thrown on the cobblestones tossed at her feet. My fool's mouth was filled with the dust from the street. An out-of-work caught jester with nowhere to go, and no need to speak, for she seemed to know. She sings her songs without words, songs that sailors and blind men and beggars have heard. She knows more of love than the poets can say, and her eyes offer something that won't go away. This mad mocking town and its dishonored guest disappeared in the colors that danced on her dress. She led me to safety in a forest of green, and showed my stale eyes some sights never seen. She sings her songs without words, songs that sailors and blind men and beggars have heard. She knows more of love than the poets can say, and her eyes offer something that won't go away.
Big John Wells on the backing vocals there.
She spins magic in moonlight in her meadows and streams, and seeks deep inside me and touches my dreams. The morning comes smiling and I laugh with no sound, and snuggle in silence in the sweet peace I've found. And she sings These are songs without words, songs that sailors and blind men and beggars have heard. She knows more of love than the poets can say, and her eyes offer something that won't go away. No, they won't go away, go away.
So there's at least 2 songs about Sandy, Harry's wife, on this album. There's maybe one as well, but it's one of his most gentle and tender tunes, and it's quite lovely for it. Which means we'll carry on to the next track, whatever that might be. It's probably going to be very different, but let's find out. Oh, well, yeah. As different as you can get, and not in a good way. Album closer, 6-string orchestra, Balderdash. But it's funny in its own right.
The very day I purchased it, I christened my guitar as my monophonic symphony, 6-string orchestra. In my room I'd practice.
You can play along at being the fake audience here.
My mother said, "You're nothing yet to make the folks right home." I'd play it all the talent nights.
It's hard to tell when to laugh because it's not that funny.
Some call it muffled laughter. I just figured they were odd. So I went up for an encore, but they screamed they'd had enough. Or maybe I just need a group to help me do my stuff. And so I dream a bass will join me and fill the bottom in. And maybe now some lead guitar so it would not sound so thin. I need some drums to set the beat and help me keep in time. And way back in the distance, some strings would sound so fine.
Speaking of fathers, I gather it's Harry's dad Jim on the drums on this track, so that's something in its favour.
And it would sound like music, and the music would sound good. But in real life I'm stuck with that same old formula. Me and my monophonic symphony, 6-string.
Bing, 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 boom, boom. I had to admit, I do quite like that bit.
I write love songs for my favorite girl and sing them soft and slow. But before I get to finish, she says she has to go. She's nice and says, "Excuse me, I've got to find a bar. I think I need refreshment before I hear you play guitar." Oh, I sent a demo tape I made to the record company.
And the rejection letter's good.
2 came back address unknown, 1 came back COD. Of course I got form letters, all saying pleasant things, like suggesting I should find a trade where I would not have to sing.
People have suggested that to me as well over the years. Astonishing.
And fill the bottom in. And maybe now some lead guitar, so it
not wild about this chorus.
So thin. I need some drums to set the beat and help me keep in time. And way back in the distance, some strings would sound so fine. And we'd all play together like fine musicians should. And it would sound like music, and the music would sound good. But in real life I'm stuck with that same old formula. Me and my monophonic symphony, 6-string orchestra.
I'm a lefty, obviously, which means my playing's even better than Harry's on this track.
Get your heart out, Eric Clapton.
No, that's a lie.
I've been taking guitar lessons, but my teacher just took leave. It was something about a breakdown or needing a reprieve. I know I've found my future, so I will persevere and hold on to my dream of making music to their ears. And so I'll dream a bass will join me and fill the bottom in. And maybe now some lead guitar so it would not sound so thin. I need some drums to set the beat and help me keep in time. And way back in the distance, some strings would sound so fine. I need all the help I can get, and we'd all play together like fine musicians should. And
I'm not clapping along.
like music,
Refuse.
and the music would sound good. But in real life, I'm stuck with that same old formula. Me and my monophonic symphony, 6-string orchestra. Oops. Oh, play that thing. Oh, someday I'm gonna be a star.
Okay, that's the official album ending, and yeah, I'll admit the first few times I heard that I did think it was funny, but it wears thin pretty damn quick. Um, and yeah, that became a skipper for me 25 years ago, maybe longer. But it's fun in its own way, I suppose. And it's a bit of lightheartedness at the end of a fairly heavy side. We haven't heard anything else from that side to demonstrate, but if we get that next and last, you'll see what I mean. And if we don't, you won't. Now, Wikipedia informs me that Scooter of the Muppets played this in an episode of The Muppet Show, so I had probably seen that long before actually hearing the album, but if so, I do not recall it at all. It's probably out on the YouTube somewhere, but I haven't dared look in case it's good. Anyway, before that, we did have She Sings Songs Without Words, which is a truly lovely tune. Now, I'll bring up the official back cover of the album. There we are. My copy didn't look like that. No pretty colours. It was black and white, and you probably couldn't see it, but it says there that the album comes with a 4-page lyric insert, basically. Didn't get that either. So no info on my copy of the album about who's on it at all. So Wikipedia lists some personnel, but they're missing some as well, because there's definitely people on some of these tracks who aren't mentioned on there. As I said, Harry's dad, Jim, was on the drums on this last hilarious track, and I believe Brother Steve was on the piano on She Sings Songs Without Words. Don Grolnick is the main keyboardist on the album, although Steve's on a fair few songs as well, I believe. And yeah, we do only have time for one more track, and there's some really good ones that it could be. I've got my fingers crossed for Shooting Star, which I think is one of Harry's best songs ever, and was done very memorably by Pat Benatar at his memorial concert when he was awarded the Gold Medal Congressional Order of whatever it was back in '87. But it could be that, or it could be lots of things. So let's go and find out. We will do what we could have won afterwards to see what we missed out on, but our final, sadly, track for today is going to be better than the last one, and it is this. All right. Not the greatest track, but a good one, Vacancy.
Mrs. Smith and Mr. Jones have come to pass the night. They pulled off of the highway when they saw my light. It's a vacancy, I offer them. What they offer me is fullness for a lifetime that's bare as can be. There's a vacancy, won't you come to me and fill my empty spaces? I'm a motel man in a promised land that's filled with empty faces. Won't you bring your sorrows, bring your it's a place for you to be. There's no more tomorrow, or that's how it seems. So won't you come to me?
I suspect it's the Sims brothers on backing vocals here as well. I wonder which one of them it was I saw.
Another name, another key, another past the glory. Another night, another sight, another bedtime story. Another stage, another chance for gentleness or violence. Another birth, another dance, another death in silence. There's a vacancy, won't you come to me and fill my empty spaces? I'm a motel man in a promised land that's filled with empty faces. Won't you bring your sorrows, bring your dreams? It's a place for you to be. There's no more tomorrow, oh, that's how it seems. So won't you come to me? I've got a vacancy. Mr. John is coming on with his liaison. Mr. Soft is coming off and soon he'll be gone. Mrs. Hart has come apart now that she's alone. Mr. Jive has come alive, but nobody's home. Mornings come checkout time with my pail and broom. I find what they've left behind in every telltale room.
Like these lines.
The sheets show their struggles, the glasses their fears, the ashtrays the hours past, the towels their tears. There's a vacancy, won't you come to me and fill my empty spaces? I'm a motel man in a promised land that's filled with empty faces. Won't you bring your sorrows, bring your dreams? It's a place for you to be. There's no more tomorrow, for that's how it seems. Won't you come to me? I've got a vacancy.
Right, that's more or less the end of what we're hearing today, but we will go into the first 10 seconds of the next track to see what we could have won, which would have been What Made America Famous. Not necessarily a better track, I would have had a lot more to say about it. But we're not hearing it. That's as much as we've got time for. Had we heard it, we would have followed it with Shooting Star, Halfway to Heaven, and the studio version of 30,000 Pounds of Bananas. So I Want to Learn a Love Song was languishing in last place, if you hadn't worked that one out. Alrighty, that was Vacancy to finish us off there. Again, kind of more tender tune from Harry, in that it's, one of his slice of life kind of tales, but it's told from a different perspective than you expect it to be somehow. It's the guy coming into these rooms and finding what people have left behind. I love that line where he says the sheets show their struggles, the glasses their fears, the ashtrays. That's a giveaway that it's the 70s. The ashtrays, the hours past, the towels, their tears. Sort of what you might expect a more typical Harry song to be, would be someone in that hotel and the reasons that they come there and get it from that perspective. So it's, again, like I say, a slightly different side to Harry on that track. But again, you can tell, as with just about everything he wrote, it was inspired by stuff he would have seen. Obviously, by this point, he was on the road an awful lot and would be right up till his death. So, yeah. Again, Harry is one of those artists who is, I think, underrated by the masses, but those who like him love him. And I have liked him and loved him for 30 and a bit years, at least. Again, many people watching this have been with him for a lot longer than that, but I can't help my stunning youth, can I? Either way, I hope you enjoyed what came up today, whether you're a long-time Harry fan or this was somehow completely new to you. Maybe Cats in the Cradle, surely. Um, but I can recommend that you delve into his catalogue because there's a lot of gems to be found right across it. This is it's my favourite of the Paul Leakett albums, but the other two are probably my least favourite of all of Harry's albums. Um, Portrait Gallery is definitely my least favourite by a long way, and it's got some great songs on it. So there you go. Anyway, as you might have been able to guess, Harry is a pretty special artist to me, and was in fact one of the first I ever covered on this little channel here for me in my earliest YouTube days, which actually wasn't really that long ago, 6 months or so. Anyway, head over and have a look at that over there. Or for something much more recent, head that away. By the way, I hope to see you again very soon, so thanks for watching today, and bye for now, but not for long.
Acting is reacting. This does not mean acting again.